This summer, a new reality show came out on Bravo. It's called A Night with My Ex, and it's really kinda great. The show is simple. Two people who were once in a relationship go to see each other for the first time in a long time, and they just talk. Talk about how they're doing, talk about getting back together, talk about what went wrong in their relationship. That's it. No host, no competition, just talking.
I'm not difficult. I'm just trying to understand somebody I'm trying to understand.
Honestly, I think that's such a special and refreshing take on reality TV, and I want to talk about it, not just because it's a good show, but because it can help us to better understand reality television as a genre, what it's good at, what it's bad at, how it works. So that's this video, Reality TV, A Night with My Ex and the Anatomy of a Genre. Before I get into A Night with My Ex, I want to lay down what I think of as the foundations of reality TV. Want to talk about it not as a sort of trashy form of entertainment, but as a legitimate genre in its own right that tries to accomplish certain aesthetic goals. I think that more than anything else, reality TV is really good at giving its audience the impression of things. Where most media aims at allowing viewers to empathize with a certain character or experience, reality TV is better at allowing its audience to empathize with a situation or a system. The Bachelor, for instance. It's not really about love or emotions. It's not really about who the Bachelor is or who he bonds with. Rather, it's a show about the trappings of love, about going on fun dates, and about the chit-chat surrounding new relationships.
The girl that can talk and speak and hold herself and carry in conversation, that's important.
First and foremost, it's about the structures of heterosexual courtship, the how, not the why. Or look at Survivor. It's not about what it's like to live and strategize on a desert island. It's not Hatchet or The Lord of the Flies. Rather, it's about the trappings of that life. Who's friends with who's in what alliance, who's the most popular.
Really trying to figure out who's gonna go.
It's sort of riveting, but we're not meant to watch the show and get a better understanding of how people are, or how they survive on a desert island. We watch it to get an impression of those things. This is true about pretty much all of these shows, and there are two aesthetic features that all reality shows share that make them really good at giving impressions and emphasizing systems. First, the show is always a game. From The Bachelor, where the goal is to receive the final rose, to Survivor, where the contestants want to get $1 million, to The Apprentice, where you want to get hired by Donald Trump.
This is the chance to work for me at a huge salary.
There's always a set of rules, always a way to win. And games are really good at recontextualizing behavior to make it more about system mastery than about genuine interaction. On The Bachelor, we might think that the show would center on the attainment of real love and a good match, but more often than not, it feels like it's about winning. Getting the Bachelor to fall in love with you, staying on the show as long as possible.
So are you a pilot?
I am.
So, making reality shows focus on gameplay allows the audience to relate more to a system, more to the interaction of various contestants and mechanics, than to any real person or authentic experience.
Flabbergasted.
Second, all reality shows include monologue. Every single reality show I've ever seen has had subjects that look straight at the audience and say how they feel about the situation they're in.
This competition just started. How do you already
This cinematic tool takes away any need for the audience to extrapolate emotions or narrative from on-screen interaction. We don't ever have to guess what a character is thinking from their tone or from subtext, because that information is always right there, explained to us immediately.
Boom, he takes the bulls by the horn. Took Lauren, ran to the water, held her hand. It was a good move.
Because of this, reality TV conveys that it's not about the intricacies of conversation or about discovering information by closely watching the show, it's about passively exploring a system, getting an impression of where everyone is and how they're feeling at all times. So, now that we have these two basic features that all reality television shares, let's turn our attention back to A Night with My Ex. What's so interesting about this little intimate show about two people talking is that it doesn't seem to be trying to give us the things that reality TV is so good at giving us. Because the show is about such an intimate thing, two people discussing an old relationship, and because the participants in question already know each other deeply, it doesn't center on the trappings of things or on the systems that govern interaction. Rather, it centers on the characters themselves, what they're like, what their relationship was like.
I don't know if you just took it for granted that I was always there. I don't know what it was.
The show just doesn't seem to have the same aesthetic aims that most other reality shows have, and this constantly produces tension. Even though it's more centered on the characters than it is on our impressions of those characters, it still abides by all the traditional rules of reality TV. There's no explicit game on the show, but it feels more gamey than it has any right to.
Are you still a virgin?
Every episode consists partly of one person trying to convince the other that they should be together again, so it sometimes feels more like a formulaic contest between two opposing forces than it does a real-life conversation.
I came out here trying to get back together with you, and you don't want to get back together with me. Why don't you sleep on the couch?
And rather than allowing the audience to bask in the subtext and weirdness of these people's lives, the show constantly cuts to the traditional reality show monologue. Like, look at this scene.
And I get that. It might have been a little unfair for me to also...
Stop making that noise. That's f***ing annoying.
Okay, great.
No, really, you're scratching the
I'm so sorry.
fork on the f***ing plate right now, and I'm trying to listen
That
to you.
was great. That's...
Really?
I'm done.
Think about it.
I'm done talking.
Just don't do that again. I had to
I
tell
will
you to
do whatever I want. I'm sorry. I'm going to do whatever I want.
No.
That was your problem. That was your f***ing problem. Because it's always what Fabian wants.
I just asked you to stop making those noises.
He hasn't changed. All he's done is kept the crabby parts that I didn't like about him.
Now, if you were a filmmaker working in any other genre, would you even consider cutting from this incredibly tense moment? No, of course not. Because nobody wants to hear what this lady thinks about the fork incident. They want to see it for themselves. But because it's a reality show, the filmmakers feel compelled to give us all this unnecessary information. Or this scene.
This is my last, month of college. I was just going out with my buddies, It's Saturday night for the boys.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought it was.
It was.
And, Rachel was there, and
Well...
how I felt about her.
Rachel is a very good friend of mine. I've known her since 8th grade.
Again, why cut to a monologue explaining who this Rachel person is? This is a case where the presence of missing information would make the scene so much more appealing, but they have to cut away from it. Why? I don't know. It's a reality show, and that's what reality shows do, I guess.
Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes made of dick.
Look, I'm not trying to bash this show too much. I mean, there are scenes in it that are so bitingly real that I can't help but love it.
Do you still have feelings for me?
No, I'm not in love with you anymore.
It's not what I asked.
But it's so constrained by the genre norms of reality TV. The need to give us a game, give us a monologue, give us a coherent impression of everything that's happening, that I can't help but feel disappointed. The show could have had this amazing slice-of-life documentary feel to it. It could have shown us in perfect focus what these people's lives and relationships are like. And it didn't really need to be anything but a little fun, naturalistic show. But instead, it constantly shies away, regresses into a reality show facade that doesn't work with the stories it wants to tell. Reality TV as a genre seems to be so deeply formulaic and so restrictive that innovation is essentially impossible. But what A Night with My Ex reveals is that there's an enormous possibility space for works in this genre. Even though the show is sometimes regressive, the feeling that it could be great if it just didn't stick to tradition so much provides evidence that there's somewhere reality TV is going or could go. Reality TV can tell all kinds of stories about the trappings of things and the way systems function, but also just about the way people live their lives, the way they talk to each other and have problems. There's so much room here for great television, and I think this show is a step in the right direction. I know what you're thinking. Big Joel, I love your content, but I have a question. Why isn't there yet a reality TV show about you? Well, to you I have one response, and that is please stop asking me that. I've received now 50 emails a day asking me about when my reality TV show is coming out. I know I had a fraudulent Kickstarter related to that, but, let bygones be bygones. Forget about it. There's not going to be a reality TV show no matter what you say. Okay, bye. Oh, and please like, comment, and subscribe. I know I lied about the reality TV show thing, but you have to support what I want to do, and that's